Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We are back with building a space elevator time-lapse series, and we're gonna do our launch today. Alright, so we're gonna have another context here on the time-lapse series building a space elevator, and we are nearly done. We're not out of the gravity well just yet, but wanted to kind of talk through some things that we've done so far within the series and try to launch this thing for now and see how far it works, how well it works, how far it's going to go for the time being with what we got so far. Alright, so kind of going some kind of order. We didn't really get a lot accomplished because we were really building a little bit different things to establish more material and resource gathering. Number one being this here, which is the mining rig for additional iron, because we were running out of iron. We ran out of iron in our initial ore deposit. Well, we still have a little bit left. I didn't really gather too much from there, but we found another spot of iron, so we must well continue to gather more from here. And in this rig, we have a ton of cargo containers just to gather the stone and also the iron, and we made this the modular cargo container system. And in order to do that, to kind of safeguard everything, it is a cargo container, a large cargo container with a connector bottom connected to the connector of the mining rig itself, and using these wheels to kind of make it a little bit of a cushion so that when you drop it down here, it's not going to break easily, although it still can. These were some of the little works and kinks that had to work on this rig here to make a modular system, although making a modular system is not necessary. It just was a time-lapse worthy type of thing to do. Whereas we can just build a ship or bring my ship that I use to carry the large cargo containers, just throw in the resources with the connector here that I put in here at one point just to do something else. I forgot exactly what. But that would be the quickest way of doing it instead of doing a cargo container or modular cargo container system. But like I said, it was time-lapse worthy, so might as well just give it a shot and just do it. Plus, what I added in the rig was this refinery, so we can refine the stone and iron, so that we could just transport just the iron ingots itself instead of just the ores and go back and everything like that. So that way, just better to just transfer resources instead of, you know, transferring the raw resources and get it all refined and everything like that as well. So initially we had a nice spinning spirally like drilling rig, which created these little two holes here, and we just needed an initial hole because I wanted to get into the ring of things, or the ring of the iron. So we're just gonna try to mine out all this ring spot here with what we got, and that's why it's attached to this rotor here, and there's a bit of a piston system here as well. Right now I'm just trying to make a bigger circle so that we can continue to mine for the iron for the most part, which we are still gonna get some stone as well, but we're trying to not make too big of a hole because that's going to reduce the performance of the save here. So we're trying to save as much as we can in some ways, but also get as much resources as we can. And iron is good, definitely something we need to continue to build our space elevator past the gravity well. I think we got up to about 30 kilometers so far, so about 13 more to go, and we might even run into the build height issue that we've talked about once before. Right, so the next thing we've done afterwards was to lift up the elevator. So we did have kind of a little launch going so far at one point, and that was just to bring it up above the ground. So now there's something you didn't see in the time lapse. This thing was stuck as a station for a very long time, and I couldn't figure out what was blocking it and not allowing it to go up. So for the most part, there were two blocks right here, one here and on this side, connected to this elevator to prevent it from going anywhere, and that's where it was kind of made into a station. But once I released that, I noticed there was a piece to the puzzle, which is right here. So you see a little bit of yellow here and then the gray here, or the black there. It was also connected to the piping system, so that was 3 points of contact that was stuck to make it a station. However, once I took out those 3 points, it was still stuck. I don't know why, but it was still stationed. I couldn't convert it. So I kept on maneuvering it a little bit, pushing it a little bit, going up, and then eventually just let go. And then I was able to transfer it to a ship. I have no explanation as to why and what was causing it to get stuck for so long. And then it just released all of a sudden. So no clue what that was about. The thruster here that looked like it was attached to the ground, it technically wasn't. So I did take it out at one point and then put it back, and it worked out fine. So that wasn't it. Again, I couldn't find exactly what was causing it, but there was something causing it to be stuck. So I'm glad it got unstuck, and we got kind of a little bits of maneuvering here. But right now it is held up by pistons. We should be okay, so that it won't fall down. And we could try to launch it again and do some testing to see if this thing's working correctly or not. And I don't know at this moment. I don't know if I want to remove the merge blocks and pistons, or should I leave it? We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we lifted up from the ground because we wanted to put in some suspensions right here, wheel suspensions, to catch the elevator if it drops too hard, so that this way we could save the elevator somewhat. I'm not sure how well it's going to save it, but it might save it a bit. And these wheels are upside down. So here's the point here, the yellow marker to be at the top. So this is the bottom. And increase the strength, the height offset, and things like that, just to be able to catch it and have a little bit of suspension there. The more difficult piece here, I really wanted to do a line of connectors horizontally here and then connect it into the base. Unfortunately, that all didn't work out because it didn't all line up. So basically, when I had a connector here to connect to the elevator, one side connected or lined up pretty well. This side did not. It wouldn't go down. So if we bring it down more, it's going to cause a little bit of clang or a little bit of issues coming in. It's going to be kind of tilted diagonals in some ways, if that is possible. So we have to remove it and go more of a simpler solution, which is a more vertical connection. So it's a little unfortunate, but I like that other design a lot better. It looks just cooler. It looks like a little bit more of like a pod or cannons from a pirate ship kind of situation, but we're kind of stuck with this design for now, and we can improve on it a little later if necessary. But that is the main reasons of lifting it up, so that we can have more suspension or safeguards for the elevator if we do accidentally drop it a little bit. So that was the purpose of that. And then once we lift it up, of course, we're going to have to do a ramp system. And I like to do normal ramps usually, which is kind of like the light armor slope 2x1 base, as you see there. And then combine it with the light armor slope 2x1 tips. Or use the ramp itself. Either one. They're the same thing anyways. So if you want to use the ramp, which would have been this one here, it is the same size as using those two blocks right there. So you would just put one here, flip one this way, put one here, flip one that way. So that's what you could have done as well. But I like the design and the weldless texture skin, and to make it look like this ramp system here. So of course this one's a lot steeper. Really got a little lazy with it because I didn't want to create another hinge ramp system, which is this right here. So I like the hinge ramp system. I've done it before in one of my series to make it less slopier, or steep I should say, ramp. And you'll see the difference here. So this is the ramp system here using the light armor panels and hinges. And we just bring it down a small degrees. I think it is currently at, 5 or 6 degrees. 5.5 degrees right there. I was hoping to extend it all the way to the ground, but of course we are on a slopey ground, so we couldn't go too far. So it's going to end up right over here, is where it's going to meet this other ramp. So instead of just putting it on the ground and having it look really odd by shaving some pieces off and everything like that, I connected it. Well, not really connected, but I made it so that it kind of has a bit of a gap there, as you see here. And try to line it up almost as perfectly as possible, but to meet up with this other ramp system, which is the same ramp system we were talking about just before. And it's a little steeper, as you see from the difference there. Most vehicles can go up that ramp, no problem anyways. But of course, if you go higher and higher and higher, it wouldn't be that nice. So that's why I created that ramp system here. Another option would have just been to make this ramp system as far as possible. So I think it's going to hit right around here. As a lengthwise, it would be all on the ground, so we didn't have to make all this wrapping system here. That was another option, but of course, it's nice to add little things to the design as much as possible. And then nearly lined it up almost perfectly. It's slightly off, but with the vehicles that I have, which is I think only one right now, we're able to kind of go over this without any issues whatsoever. The steeper ramp, it's not as great because the system that I have is a bit unbalanced, which is that minor right here. It's very top heavy and forward heavy, so that still able to go up it with not a lot of issues. It does flip a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Other than that, we added this ramp here, and this ramp system is the same ramp system that we had in its place before. It's because of this little gap here. It's kind of like a train station where they say mind the gap, so that's what this is for. And it's done with the light armor panels as well, and it's throughout the whole entire thing except for this diagonal piece here, which has no doors anyways, so we just left it as is. And this system works pretty decently, as you see here. It creates a little bit of like a hook system. It looks pretty cool over there. And if I were to able to keep this vertically straight up, it looks pretty cool. Going back to, and I just killed myself somehow. Alright, so I'm contemplating if I want to leave it like this right here, or leave it pointing up vertically, as I mentioned just before I kind of killed myself there. So those are some options that I was thinking about. And of course, I colored most of this just to make it look like a better design. And I'm trying to go with the color scheme of this dark gray, yellow, and green, because it kind of matches everything else. The green, I'm trying to match this neon green here for the connectors. And of course, the yellow came from these junctions here. So that's the color scheme I'm going to go with. And I think it added kind of like a light bluish color for a connector when it's not connected. So that's the other option as well. But yeah, that's what we got done so far with the time lapse. A little bit more to come. I'm trying to finalize the project as soon as possible, because the next project is to make a kind of orbital station or docking station of every top. And maybe some upgrades to the space elevator itself, because I know for sure the rotor wheel and hinge thing that I have here set up is one of the slowest ways to go upwards. And it might even take half an hour to get up to or past the gravity well this way. So we might just change it to something else to make it work better. But we'll see how it goes after we do this kind of pre-launch system here. Yes, and again, I'm using thrusters, and that's just to keep it from going down too fast. At this point, am I going to use it to launch it? Likely not, because if it goes too fast, from my experience with the landing gears like this, it will break the pillar. So that's always a big problem there. But if we decide to go with a different route, which is going to be this wheel suspension route, we should probably get rid of some of these landing gear systems here and add in maybe a wheel system, but not pointing this way, but have this side facing the pillar itself to kind of get that hovering friction, non-friction thing going to get it glued onto the pillar itself. So that's an option, but if we can sustain the elevator with the speed and not break anything with the way we have it currently, which slow and steady can work pretty well. It's just about patience in this case, right? So if it works out well, doesn't take too long to get to the past gravity well or up to the docking station up top, then maybe we'll just keep it this way. I don't know yet. We'll find out. But yeah, once again, that's what we've done so far in the last 3 time lapses, which has been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it. So now let's turn the page and just do a bit of a launching system here and see how far we can get with what we got so far. Hopefully we don't break anything, and if we do, it's going to be a pain in the butt to fix. So of course we're going to have to save and do a backup just in case. Alright, so I think first things first, a lot of stuff we have not really named or changed in here, so we're going to have to do that. So actually, no, we did name it. Okay, perfect. So I thought we did name it. So this is the connecting bottoms. Yeah, these are connector bottoms. We didn't make those names for that. We have thrusters. That's fine. I think right now they're turned off, and they are. Our tanks here are not named as well, which we should do. But it's fine. We can always do a because it's a ship itself now considered, right? So here's the ship info. It's a ship. This is the grid name, which actually just called space elevator for now. And if we're looking for the tanks, it's gonna be these tanks here, which we shouldn't have too many. So we'll stockpile all those. So that way we get our hydrogen, and the elevator tanks will be a group. So we can just do this. Where's my tank? We put it here. We put stockpile on and off, so we could stop it when we need to. And I think we're good. Connectors. Do I have my connector bottoms? Yep, bottom connectors here. We'll put it switch lock on 9. That's what I'm used to. And I think we're good to go. Oh well, we still gotta remove the pistons. I think we have to remove the pistons because this piston here is not high enough for me to do anything. And once I release it from the piston, we should be okay because we still have the connectors to get back into connection to the base, to get power, to get hydrogen and all that stuff. So we should be fine. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna slowly remove these pistons and kind of hope for the best here. Okay, so let's not unlock it right now. Alright, so that is cleared out. All the pistons, merge blocks, all gone. One thing I noticed is that I haven't really picked up a lot of unknown signals in a long time throughout the whole entire build process. And I picked them up all in the very beginning. I guess it's for more resources more than anything else in the very beginning. So comment down below if that's what you do too. You just pick it up in the beginning and then you end up not picking up anymore once you're pretty much established. I want to see if you guys are similar in terms of how you pick up unknown signals. Although going to it and get skins is always somewhat worth it anyways. In some ways at least. But that's for another time, I guess. Alright, so we are disconnected from the pillars. The only thing that's really holding us now is the connectors here. So the connectors here are locked in place. There is a bit of strength to it, which I'm thinking maybe I should remove. If I don't remove it, it's going to get glued on slightly when we go up. But should be okay for the most part. We'll leave it as is for now. The wheels itself, that's what we need to get established. We need to get that a little bit hugging on the pillar itself. So we need to increase either the strength or the height offset in this case here. I've never really done the wheel ones. I haven't experimented with it too much, but I think you want to have a little bit of forgiveness as well. So you probably don't want to do too much of a strength, and you want more of a height offset potentially, I think. So we gotta do a height offset. Let's see, if we do 0, we're pretty much touching it. So maybe we do like a 0.5. Ooh, negative 0.5. Okay, so 0.5, negative 0.5. It's kind of glued to the wall. Maybe we don't do 0.5. We do 0.1. Nope, that's not gonna work. maybe 0.3 or 0.2. I think 0.3 might work. So let's just do that to the wheels. We'll put 0.3. So it gives it a bit of a hug into the pillars. So these are the wheels. Yeah. So height offset, we did negative 0.1. Well, 0.3. Strength, we have a 10. I think we can go with 12 to 15. And we'll leave the power as is. But we'll limit the speed for now, just in case. And friction, it depends how grippy it is or how heavy this whole thing is another thing as well. We're going to get rid of steering. We have propulsion, braking, and everything else. So we should be okay. And of course, if I'm doing something wrong, let me know. As you guys usually do anyways. So hopefully that kind of works out. And I think everything is glued in. And of course, the wheels are set up to be one as inverted and one not inverted for the propulsion. So that way you're not fighting it going up the pillar, and they're going all the same direction. So that's that. All right, so here we go. Get into a helm. We can close our doors if we need to. I'm going to use the spectator camera just for the purposes of view for you guys. And we're not going to launch our thrusters just yet. If we can't get this thing to roll up, then we will potentially use the thrusters. But let's see what we got right now. So we'll set up a view here, but there's still more to set up on here. And we're just throwing a bunch of these groupings on our toolbar for now. We'll make the adjustments later to clean it up. But that should be fine. I think we're good to go. Should we launch it now? I think so. Alright, so get to our viewpoint here. We'll turn off the GPS pointers. Here we go. So we should be good here. Like I said, we're not going to turn on the thrusters. So let's leave it as that. We're still connected. So if we disconnect, let's see what happens. So we're going to do it in 3, 2, 1, unlock. And it dropped a little bit. Okay, interesting. Good and bad. So now we have a little bit of that strength, connection, and magnetism going on in the connectors. But let's see what happens when we increase the velocity of our rotors. So increase to 3 RPM. So we're stuck. Okay, let's try to get rid of that magnetism by connecting and disconnecting. And then launch the velocity. Nope, it's not doing anything. Okay, and reason being, it might be because of the wheel, potentially. Let me see if I can use the wheels to go up. And it doesn't have enough grip. Okay. So the wheels aren't the issue. So let's just height offset the wheels. Try it again with the rotor velocity. Oh no, that wasn't it. And we're not going anywhere. Okay, so that is interesting. This system might be too heavy, so we might need to use the thrusters, which really not something I really want to use, but it is what it is at this point. So it is rotating the correct way. That's rotating the correct way. That's rotating the correct way. That's not rotating at all. This one is not rotating at all. I'm not sure why. Is this even? Yeah, it has velocity. Okay, so it's stuck. And this one is rotating the right way. So some of it's kind of stuck, some of it's not. Looks like we lost a rotor head here somehow. So we can always attach that back on. Interesting. Is the rotor displacement here? that's causing this issue? Potentially. Displacement should be all the way negative, I think. Negative 100. Yep, so that was the problem. So this one needs to be negative 40 as well. There you go. Alright, so that's spinning correctly. That's spinning correctly. This one is not. It's been quite some time since I looked at these rotors, so much of the system might be slightly off because of that. Okay, so we're rotating the correct way, and we're still stuck. So that's not enough strength to go up, I think. So let's try that again. Yeah, we're not having enough power to go upward. So we're going to increase velocity all the way to maximum once we unlock. Let's see if that works. Nope. Okay. We are going to break something eventually like this. So it looks like that is not going to work. So if we turn on thrusters, now increase velocity to our rotors, is that going to work? And looks like the answer is no. Okay, so even if we use... Okay, it does kind of work with using the spacebar to go up. Let's connect and disconnect. Okay, spacebar makes it work. To make for the thrusters to work, actually. So it's moving. Now the problem I'm having with this, of course, is the rotors wheels here are pretty much pointless at this time. And I was hoping for that to actually work. So they don't seem to be really working. So the thrusters is what's pulling the momentum. So that's unfortunate. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so let's do the elevator wheels instead. So let's do height offset to squeeze it. I don't squeeze it too hard. I think we get away with 0.32. And if we hit W to drive, it's not doing anything. Do we need more friction here? Let's see. Wheels. Or maybe strength. Would that work? Let's do 30 strength. Nope. Let's do a proper offset. Let's do negative 0.5. We know for sure that's glued on. There we go. Okay. So that's working okay. It's really, really slow. I think we're a little too glued in with the wheels. So I think we're gonna have to go with a wheel suspension system. Okay, so that's working okay. It's really slow. And it could be because we're glued on a little too strong again. So let's try 0.35. Okay, 0.35 didn't really work out too well. Let's see. Let's do 0.38. Okay, I think that works. Okay, now the ultimate test is take off the thruster. So let's do that in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's not good. So we're very unbalanced is one thing. Our rotors are not working as intended because it's way too heavy, I think. So we can scratch the idea of the rotors for sure. And oof, our rotor system looks like it tore apart a good chunk of our pillar. Yeah, it did. Alright, so that was not very successful launch, but we know the thruster is working and it's not holding a heavy load because it's not fully extended. The rotor wheels itself, I was hoping for it to work okay. Seems like that's not going to work, and one of the reasons why it's not working is because it's probably not touching. Yeah, my worry is that there's a chance that I think I moved the whole entire elevator a little bit, so it shifted a bit to the right, I believe. It may have. I may have to do the angling of this a little bit better. But I think we may have to change this up. So we have a couple options. One is create it as a wheel suspension system without the thrusting if we have to. We just use the thrusting as a safeguard for braking purposes and get rid of those rotor systems. Or we just base this whole thing on a thruster. So that are some of the possibilities. So yeah, it's unfortunate though. So where's our hinge wheel? So did I set a upper? Yeah, the upper and lower limits. Okay, so let's just do this. So grab all this and just reverse it for now. So our hinge wheels right here are off. We have a lot of broken pillars, a lot of broken landing gears. We should be okay for now. Let's bring this guy up a little bit more. So we're able to drive it up. Not by much. We're stuck somehow. Alright, combination of wheels and thrusters, what I'm able to grab in to go up. Not the best design, I guess. I kind of figured that was going to be a problem. And I'm sure most of you have also figured the same thing. But I am able to bring it up mostly from the thrusters itself. But thrusting upwards, yeah. Not the best thing in the world. So, I'm kind of curious, and some in a better section off of the ones that I broke. Yeah, we should be okay. Go back to the hinge wheels and clamp it on a little bit better. So if I were to do my hinge wheels, and we did, let me just change this to -0.5 for now. We changed the upper limits. I think all of them are at 0, yeah. We'll change the upper limit. It was at 20, so let's just do 22 and reverse. Is that gonna do anything? Oh, that just broke a few things. But guess what? It twitched. It didn't move, but twitched. So I'm not sure what I broke. Pillars, okay. So that's gripping a little too hard. It twitched a little bit and then go. Okay, so I think we're gonna revisit this and do wheel suspension instead of rotors. Because the rotors on a lighter system works, but it's also a touch scary at the same time because you do need kind of the thrusters from an experiment that I did to make sure that it doesn't fall off the ground and everything like that. So let's just reverse this back out. It does grip it nicely though. So our best bet is to make it a wheel suspension type of system here. And I think if we were to increase the friction, we would have a better time here. And we're not. And I think, again, it's probably our offset. So let's just get back to that 0.3 offset here. Okay, that's not doing anything. Here we go. We need a tighter offset. Okay, to make sure we have a grip. And if we take off thrusters, yep, that's a problem too, because we don't have enough for the braking power of it. Actually, hit park. Okay, that's a good try. So if I hit park, it'll hold. Yeah, it'll hold. It's a little scary, but it'll hold. As you see there. So okay, let's just unpark it. And we can't bring it down because of thrusters. Yeah, I think because of the thrusters, we can't bring it down. So we got to bring it down with the thrusters. Alright, so it's a combination of using the thrusters and wheels together to kind of get this thing working. So it's not the best thing in the world, but it's kind of working. Now I'm just trying to figure out the best way to dock this thing now. So we got to do backwards and downwards. Backwards for the wheels and downwards for the thrusters, and now we're stuck, and it's likely because of the broken pillars and everything like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So good test, unsuccessful in terms of launching it quickly. So rotor wheels should be out of the picture for sure. That I am definitely gonna get rid of. I really think the wheel suspension, if done right, we should be okay. Yep, unfortunately stuck right now on something. It's probably back here, and it's likely the broken pillar right here or something like that. So yeah, we can't connect it. So not so successful launch. We're gonna have to deal with this, work it out, but it looks like the rotor wheel's not gonna work because it's way too heavy of a system. It definitely works for something a little lighter that I've tried before. So we're gonna update it into maybe a wheel system for the most part and see how that goes. I mean, if we had to really bring this up, we could just enlist the work of pistons. So yeah, if anything, we can make this thing a lot smaller. And if all else fails, this is just going to be an attached ship, basically, to a ship attached to 3 pillars, basically. So that's what we can hope for in the near future at this point. So yeah, I'm glad I actually tried it. I can always remake it off the pillar and everything like that. So we'll continue to work on this to make it work a little better. Very, very unfortunate at the moment, but we'll figure it out. We will definitely figure it out to get this thing working. So yeah. So we're gonna call this an unsuccessful launch, a bit of a fail here, but we learned from it, and we're gonna fix it and build and get it to work. So hope you guys did enjoy this context video, the explanation and launch of the elevator. And if you do, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop some comments down below, and of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.